Jury came back and they spoke their word. 12 voices in unison finally heard. Guilty they said and the gavel came down, but the questions still echo all over this town. A husband is gone and a woman's in chains, but the story we're telling has too many stains. So Luna flew over the dark Irish Sea to sit with us tonight and help us see. Guilty but not done, the truth isn't finished. Guilty but not done, the story's not whole. The verdict's a door, but it doesn't answer everything. Moon across the water, let the trial chat roll. She landed so softly, her dark hair like night. Her Siamese three curled around her in the light. She opened her eyes, silver, ancient and clear. She said, I've seen verdicts that cost us more than fear. I've sat in the old courts beneath the Irish stone, where guilty men guilty but never stood alone. There's always a thread that the jury never pulls. So pour out your coffee, trail junkies, let's talk. Guilty but not done, the truth isn't finished. Guilty but not done, the story's not whole. The verdict's a door, but it doesn't answer everything. Moon across the water, let the trial chat roll. Why did it happen? Was she alone in this? What did the defense leave on the table? What did we miss? A verdict is a beginning dressed up like an end. Melody Farris, we are not finished. Trial junkies, we are not finished. The questions are alive and we are asking them tonight. Here in the dark with the chat burning bright, Doc holds it steady while Z holds the light, and Luna sits quiet, her wings folded down, a fairy, three cats in a truth-seeking crowd. The gavel has fallen, that chapter is sealed, but justice and verdicts aren't always revealed. In the same breath, the same moment, the same hole. So we dig and we question and we carry it all. Guilty but not done, the truth isn't finished. Guilty but not done, the story's not whole. A verdict's a door, but it doesn't answer everything. Moon across the water, let the trial chat roll. Every killer depends on your silence. Please don't give it to them. Justice after dark.
Live on the air, Trial Junkies United presents Justice After Dark with your host, Z. How did that?
Storyteller in the wilderness of injustice with my ride or die Doc riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness where the predators hunt and the system fails. And we're ready to shine a light on some of the forgotten stories society likes to leave buried. So buckle up. The path ahead grows bumpy as we lead you through another section of the nightmare they call our justice system. Doc, are you ready to ride tonight?
Well, of course.
Well, great, because this one's especially for our trial junkies. Tonight, we're going to delve into the Melanie Farris case, where she was found guilty of deleting her husband back in 2024. That's when the trial took place. He was deleted back in 2018. And so the jury spoke, the verdict's in. But let me tell you something, verdicts aren't always the same thing as the whole truth. And tonight, we've got some questions, a lot of them. And excitingly, we called in some reinforcements and someone from our community here who knows a lot about trials, and our trial junkies know her. One of our favorite mods, because I don't want Vala upset. You're both my little sisters, but all the way from the emerald shores of the UK, flying across the pond on her gossamer wings with her 3 Siamese cats and a heart full of fire. Please welcome our very own Irish Luna Fairy to the Justice After Dark trial chat. Hey, Luna!
The crowd goes wild.
Well, we thought we'd have some fun because you suggested this case. I was interested in this case. So this was an easy one to jump on and say, "Hey, let's dig into it." Because it was crazy, wasn't it?
It was. It was such a mixed outcome. I don't know. It was just, to me, there was a lot of reasonable doubt, a lot of questions at the end. And yeah, I went down a rabbit hole. I bored everybody to tears talking about it. So I'm more than happy to discuss it again with my sister and Doc.
Oh, good. And let's welcome, we've got Where the Lavender Grows. We have Southern Gals in here with us. Chris is in here hanging out. And of course, our Fala is holding down the fort for us. So let's jump in and talk a little bit about the case, kind of give you a little background for if someone did not, you know, look into
Someone
this.
escaped me blabbing.
Yes. Dawn, Southern Gal, loves your accent.
Oh, thank you.
I told you, my little Irish sister. Hey, Mustang. Thanks for joining me and Irish Luna Fairy. And so this is the farm in Georgia, Cherokee County, where a husband vanished in July of 2018. He was found in a burn pile, but it didn't give up all of its secrets. It took 6 years, November 2024, when they finally got a verdict. But we want to know, did the right person go to prison? You know, just because the jury believes one version of the story, is that version the right one? And we have questions, and they seem logical. And before we get started, though, I have to say this. I loved the judge, Judge Robert
Yes.
Cannon Jr. He's one
He
of my
was so
favorites.
good.
He was. Hey, Simi Sharp, thanks for jumping in with us. He was really an awesome judge. And when you get a good one, you remember him. And I remember this one. He was good. But let's introduce Gary Farris, because he was the one that lost his life. And he was known as Big Daddy, which is a term of endearment in the South. Irish and I've already talked about this. But he was a commercial real estate attorney. And he was financially the backbone of the entire family. Him and his wife, Melody, had been married for 38 years and they had 4 children. They had 2 boys and 2 daughters, and they had this 10-acre farm in Cherokee County. And the second oldest son, Scott, who was a veteran from the military, he lived in an apartment down in the barn and worked the farm for his father. Is, you know. But beneath the surface, there was drama over money. And oh, well, that's not Scott. Okay. Oh, we'll back that up. So pictures are going to be a little funky. Just hang with us, guys. But
It's
this was the
me. I'm
family
sorry.
they were.
I jinxed it.
But this family, they were always after money, weren't they?
Always. Everything.
Everybody came to Big Daddy for money.
Right. The card access, just like throwing out debit cards and credit cards and have at
Yes,
it. Just with adult children as well. Just
exactly. Missing Black people, the Forgotten has joined us. Thank you so much. Exactly. I mean, credit cards he would give out to them. He would put down payments on houses, help them in their businesses. I mean, what didn't this man pull out the checkbook for? You know?
yeah.
And they called themselves the Ferris wheel. Um, but Melanie had a secret, which was like the worst kept secret in the family. She'd been having a 4-year affair with a Tennessee salesman who's named Rusty Barton. But it was an open secret. It wasn't really like this deeply, oh, nobody knows about our secret.
Is that Rusty?
That's Rusty.
Okay. Huh.
And he was actually, in a way, related to her, right?
Oh my gosh, was he? I missed
Oh,
that.
Yes. Her
Oh.
cousin, I think, was the son of her second cousin or something.
Oh yeah, Martha
Remember?
Jane.
Yeah, she was taking care of the older
Yes.
woman, and that was her son.
Oh my gosh.
Keeping
I
it in
don't
the
know how,
family,
but I
people.
just didn't connect that. That's made a whole new level of disturbing to the whole proceedings.
Hey, Capri Law. Oh, this is one of her favorite cases too. Glad you joined me in
Yes.
Irish Luna and Doc.
Yeah, Curviel, Ken, and Capri put me onto it, actually. They were like, you have to watch this trial. It's really, really good.
Yes.
And I'm so glad I did.
Oh, it really was. So on July 3rd of 2018, everybody, Gary and Melanie argue over dinner. Supposedly, he comes in, and it's in the evening. Let's see, what time was that he came in that night? Because you have,
It was
she put
9
together
something.
a beautiful timeline,
Yeah,
and
I went
that
all
really helped.
in, y'all. Like, the obsession was serious.
But it was very helpful. So it was around, let me see, on the timeline. Let's see, on the 3rd. Let's see.
It's around 8-ish, was it? Maybe
Yeah,
half
because
8.
around 8 or 8:30, he does leave home to go to the dinner. But her and him had a fight about it because he was like, "What are we having for dinner?" And she said, "There's food is all in the refrigerator. Go get some." You know.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that right there is why I'm single, because come in and say, what's for dinner? Like, yeah, whatever you make, get on with it.
Well, that's why I have Doc. He says the kitchen is where I leave my purse. But those
Well, it is.
it is. But those were the last words supposedly spoke between Gary and Melody that night. And so 2 days later, when her granddaughters couldn't find Big Daddy because they wanted to ride the RTV around, the property, she told him, "Go get Big Daddy and he'll take you," right? And so then they start looking for him. And then they discover him in the burn pile. So but let's do this slowly. We're not gonna jump into everything. So let's go ahead and look at. Let me see
Okay,
here.
so what is that?
What?
Oh, what's on the screen right now?
Well, it should be the burn pile. Isn't the burn pile up there?
No, you got Melody in her prison finest right there.
Oh, I must hit the button twice. Oops. Let me go back one. I told you guys.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, give her a button.
I know you give me a button. I thought I had the burn pile.
Oh,
Okay. Anyway,
you're going too fast.
they did find a bullet in the burn pile.
Okay, so that's a bullet. Okay,
That's a bullet.
all right.
Okay. But let's go back. We're gonna kind of follow Irish's timeline here. So that morning, supposedly on July 3rd, Gary gets up and he's working on supposedly the property, right? According
Yeah.
to Scott, him and his dad were kind of working on the property. Emily's in Tennessee. That's where she lives with her husband, correct?
Yeah.
And she's the oldest daughter, but a middle child.
Yeah. Yeah. There was quite not a huge gap, but there was quite a gap between the boys and the girls, wasn't there?
Yeah. Chris is the oldest.
Yeah.
Scott is the second oldest, then Emily, and then Amanda's the baby of the family.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of helps you understand who's all in this family. So around lunchtime, they said Gary had gone to the cafe, and it just so happened that so had Melanie and Scott, but they didn't sit with Gary or Big Daddy. They sat together, is from what I understood.
Yeah. They went in together. I think they went up there together, but in separate cars and had
Right.
lunch together. And
Right.
they
A-
didn't
And
even
Scott
speak to.
believes, in his testimony, he believed that his dad left before he left. He wasn't sure. Supposedly, according to Melanie, when she gave her statement to the police, she said that Gary had started a burn pile that afternoon. And if you guys don't live on a farm or a ranch, what happens in a ranch or a farm or out in the country, a lot of people have what they call burn piles. And it's just a place where people gather. It could be tree limbs, excess lumber, anything that
Mhm.
burns. And they'll just put it in a big pile. And then eventually, when the conditions are safe, there's not wind or something, you light it on fire and you burn it all down to nothing and you have ash. And so supposedly Gary starts a
Is
burn
that the
pile.
burn pile?
That's the burn pile.
Okay.
Did you finally
I must say, I mean, I know it's kind of morbid, but I mean, I must say that is the nicest burn pile I have
Oh
ever
no,
seen.
that's the ranch.
Okay, well, okay.
Oh,
I
I
was
was
gonna
going to say
say.
that looks really clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the ranch.
Okay.
Like done.
All right.
Yeah, no, that's the judge. Oh, I love him.
I'll get you back up to where
Okay,
you were before. There.
that was go past the bullet.
There's the bullet.
See-
Okay.
And that's Melanie. We'll go past Melanie. Yeah, we'll get to that later. Okay. Anywho, I'm not going to get stuck on that.
Yep.
Because Amy and I got too much to talk about here.
Yep.
So let's go back to, let's see, he started a burn pile, and then Scott leaves around between noon and 1, he says, because he was going to go socializing.
Socializing. Hmm.
Well, what can we say? Now,
Mhm.
one thing you have to say, I think Big Daddy was like 6'5". Scott was like 6'8".
Oh my.
Um, Chris was also about, I think, the same size as Big Daddy. And then
Yeah,
Melanie was tiny. She was 5 foot nothing. I mean, she was not big at all. And so Chris and Scott were both known to have tempers. And Luna, what was
yeah.
it you were telling me about Scott's temper?
Oh gosh, what was it?
Because he had
It
gotten
was
in
yeah,
trouble or something.
he would just get very aggressive with it. He seemed to just I can't was it him? I think it was him that one of Melody's friends at some point visited the ranch and he would just be like, this is my ranch and this is my home and who are you? And just like he would just get very belligerent about things. And so did Chris, allegedly.
Yeah.
Sounded
Well,
quite obsessive.
yeah.
know.
Well, in
Mm,
fact, I thought somewhere I did read that Chris went so far as his temper got so bad is that he was actually told he wasn't allowed to be on the property unless Scott, Big Daddy, or Melody was there. He wasn't allowed to come on it without someone in the family.
Hmm.
yes, that was it. I get Chris and Scott mixed up. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
They
Well, that
yeah, it was Chris
yeah.
that she said, I don't want you on this property without one of us being here.
Yeah. And so and actually Chris also had a drinking problem. And
Yes.
because Amanda actually finally called her dad and she said it had to be bad for me to call my father. But they had gone for a weekend that they normally went, I think, once a year to visit somewhere. And Chris and his family went with them. And Chris and his, I don't know if it was his wife at the time or a girlfriend, had had too much to drink, and he had minor daughters. And Amanda got nervous, so she told the girls, "You're gonna come with us. You know, we're gonna drive you." And, like, the next day or something, she called her father and said, "He's got a drinking problem. Something needs to be done because he's gonna kill somebody." And so, um, then
Well, that
Chris
didn't
turned
sound very
around,
good.
and because we know that Melanie has had an affair for 4 years and everybody knew it, Chris told Big Daddy that Melanie was sleeping with Amanda's fiance. So see, this
Yeah,
family was full of drama.
yeah. That is so low. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Just why have you got to take it there? I know he was angry, but still.
Yeah. And it's just it was really weird. It was weird.
Mm,
Now, this happened in July, the July 4th weekend. They were supposed to have a huge family, get together for the 4th of July weekend. They were supposed to do something. So July 3rd, after Big Daddy that night, after him and Melanie kind of have their, I guess, fight, he goes to the restaurant and he eats. And then he comes home and she says he supposedly went downstairs to sleep. She didn't see him. And she's, saying that she was on the phone with her boyfriend, I think, because they had regular times that they chatted and they had separate bedrooms because of the CPAP machine that was in the pictures earlier.
yeah.
Ah, okay.
So he slept in the basement. I mean, it was a nice basement. Don't get me wrong, people. Very nice basement. And it had a walkout. So it wasn't like he had to go up and down the stairs. But it was and so then on July 4th, she does not nobody sees Big Daddy. And then it was on the 5th, right, that the granddaughters wanted because they spent the night of the 4th with grandma. She took him out
Yeah.
to the lake or something at 1 in the
Yeah.
afternoon. Then she
Yeah. I think
brings
she met up with Amanda and
yeah.
her fiance at the time's daughter was there, and she was friends with one of Chris's daughters, and they wanted a sleepover together. So she
Right.
took Cameron back home with her after the lake, and Chris brought, oh gosh, Addison down to the
Right.
farm and dropped her off to have the
And so
sleepover.
Melanie leaves the farm around noon to get to the lake.
Yeah,
And so then she's at the lake and she doesn't get home until probably, oh, what was it, around 6 or something,
yeah,
you
yeah. It
know?
was,
And she has the
and
girls, Cameron and Addison, because Addison shows up. She brings Cameron, but Addison shows up, what, an hour later?
yeah, I think Chris said he took her to Wendy's on the way back because he was at a pool party having 4th of July stuff there, and he brought her over. They had dinner, and he kept saying like what Miss Addison wants, Miss Addison gets, which I found a little bit interesting. But anyway,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he just kept saying that as if it was this big deal. But anyway, then he dropped her off, and he said he didn't see anything, but nothing was unusual,
And then
and he
Scott
left.
comes and then Scott comes home around 8 o'clock PM because he's gonna feed the animals and take care of them, and he finds Melanie in bed because I guess he goes in the house and she's in the bed, her master bedroom with the dogs, and he's upset with his mother because the goats were out, and then she tells him
Yeah,
that Gary let them out,
yeah,
so that implies that Gary was around on the 4th.
yeah. But nobody saw him.
Right,
Was
nobody
she
saw
what
him.
was she just saying that though?
We
Yeah,
don't
see,
know.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing to remember on the 3rd, Scott got home that night around between 11:30 and 11:34. He gets home. And one thing I found interesting is he said he saw a burn pile burning. He could see it when he drove in.
yeah,
Here's my question. He's supposed to be the caretaker of the farm, correct?
yes. That was kind
You
of
s-
how he earned his keep for being there,
right,
kind of thing.
because he got a free apartment and credit cards from Big
Yeah,
Daddy. So you pull in at 11:30 PM and you see a burn pile. Would you not go check it out?
yeah. I mean, that's the thing for me. I'm like, I just think you would,
Yeah.
Especially if you
because
hadn't started it.
yeah, and they had the past instance where they've had trouble before with these fires because Gary was kind of happy-go-lucky with the fire lighting, and it nearly burnt down. Was it their old house? So
Yeah,
I would want to go check, like, if he's actually paying attention that late at night to a fire just burning away down
exactly.
there.
Hey, forgotten artist, thanks for coming. And also therapist you know's here. Exactly.
Yay!
I totally agree with you. Um, and I think it's interesting too that the next day those oh, only fan, welcome. That the next day those girls didn't go check out the fire.
Yeah, because everybody kept talking about how he was making this fire. He was talking about making the fire. He always made fires. And then when he's missing, the first thing I would think is, well, let's go down and check if he's at the pot of the fire.
Yeah. And I thought the interesting thing was one of the things the whole case sat on was he didn't use his CPAP machine the night of the 3rd when he
Yeah,
supposedly got home.
yeah,
And the woman testified from the records that he had never missed a night.
yeah,
But he did. He'd been in the hospital.
yeah.
So
I
that's a
mean,
contradiction.
yeah, that is the question. And I'm not quite sure where the 10:30 time of death came from either.
Yeah. because they're saying that supposedly Melody shot him in the house. But if you look, I don't know, let me see if I can get over here to my pictures. Because there are some pictures. That's Scott. Let me see here. That's Chris. That's the phone. Wee, that's the burn pile. Okay. Right there is a picture of the dot of blood in the kitchen going down the stairs. There is a dot. Now that goes straight down. That blood, that's like something that's dripping straight down. Like
Yeah,
you have your arm straight down or whatever, because there's no tail showing it's directional. So you're talking
that's
about something that
true.
it went straight
It
down.
went straight down and hit a flat surface.
Right.
Okay.
Now, his daughter, the youngest one, Amanda, testified that Big Daddy got bit like a day or two before the 3rd by one of Melanie's dogs.
Yeah,
Because all they found is blood drops like this, you guys. They found one up at the top of the steps. This one was down below.
No.
Thank you, Doc. And then there's a drop there, a drop there, a drop there, and then a couple of more on the stairs. Oh, I didn't put that one. But they're just drops.
and
They're,
are they the ones they didn't test? Because there was
yeah,
some blood. So that could be anybody's blood. That could be Melody's blood.
That just doesn't seem like it's from a gunshot wound, you know?
yeah, because they found, when they found him in the burn pile, there was a bullet lodged in his rib cage, in one of the ribs. Now, if you get shot in the ribs, depending on how, it got stuck there. So I don't know how close they were, whoever, shot.
Mm.
But it's like, how come there wasn't more blood if he was deleted down there? Now, remember, this man is 6'5" and weighs around 300 pounds. I don't think Melanie weighs over 120, and she's like 5 foot, like 2 or something. I mean, she's tiny. And they're saying that she supposedly used a weapon in the house on him and got him out of the house and down to a burn pile. Now, I don't think it was real far, but it was a distance.
Yeah, but they don't explain how she did that.
Well, they do bring up that there was a tractor, and this is the tractor.
Okay.
But they didn't find anything in the bucket of the tractor. And also, it had this rake thing on the back of it. Southern gal, right? She says, "I'm 5'3". There's no way she could, drag a 300-pound man, because you'd be talking about dead weight.
Yep.
Now dragging the tractor, if she would have driven it like this, there would be marks because the thing behind it. I suppose is there a way to hook that rake thing up?
There's probably a lift on it. It would lift up off the ground. So
Okay. But they said they found nothing in the bucket. And also, this wasn't that big of a tractor. The bucket wasn't that big.
yeah, no, that's
Mhm.
that's a small, that's a little, romp around the house for an estate like they had. That's
Exactly.
not like a big tractor you'd take out in the field. So
They had 4 horses, a bunch of goats, and some chickens. That's what they had on the farm, and some ducks that were down on their pond.
yep.
So, I mean, it wasn't like I think they were really farming this. Hey, Drunky, thanks for joining us, darling. Um, so I mean, it's crazy. Okay. So let's go to some of the other things that didn't make sense. at least
Oh
to
no,
me.
mind you as well, there were no drag marks, no tractory marks,
Right.
whatever you want to
No.
call that, tire
Yeah.
marks
Yep.
in the
And
grass at all.
right. And then there was this little ATV thing that they had, and this is a picture of that. But they said the only blood they found in that was like on the gear shift or something, and that was Gary's, but it was on the gear shift and it was like a drop or something. And
Yeah.
I remember listening to Peter Van Zant, the reporter that does, I think he's 48 Hours, and he said, you know, he has a place in the country, and he says, I cut myself all the time.
Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah.
you're out there doing stuff,
Well,
you know, that's no big deal, you know, because like they said, it was a drop.
well,
There
I
was
I
nothing
I
there.
have one question about this
Sure.
ATV. And do we have any idea what the timeline of when this picture was taken?
No, I
Okay.
don't have that.
Because what I'm saying, you trying to say is that that thing looks awfully clean for being around on a farm, running around. I never knew an ATV to be that clean
Well,
on a working farm like they had.
well, there was a lot of discussion about how much working was getting done on the farm.
Ah, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, well,
Because Melanie said that Scott was not pulling his weight and that actually Big Daddy was upset and had taken one of the credit cards away from him and was not allowing him anymore to just put things on credit because he would do that at stores, put things on credit, and so they stopped him from doing that. Um,
Hellcat. Hello.
Hey,
oh,
Hellcat.
so that was an interesting piece of the puzzle when that came out.
But
And
then he had that weird text, didn't he, from Gary that said, "You got the card, hang on to it with your life."
yeah,
So that's confusing too, because that then indicates that he trusted him with the card and was keeping it away from Melody.
or could you interpret it that he was saying guard it with your life and don't let anything happen to it, you little, knucklehead?
That's true.
Because
This is
with
the
the
thing with everything in this case. It works
yeah.
just as well for either suspect.
Well, and let's be honest, with a text or even an email, you don't know what the intent was. You can't tell what the tone,
Yeah.
you know, that something is given. Southern gal, if you have clean farm equipment, you're doing something wrong. Just saying.
Well, it kind of. Farming is not your priority if you have clean equipment.
Right.
Mhm.
And so as they were searching for Big Daddy, you guys, they called Chris. Chris said, "I'm coming to the farm immediately." Amanda was coming to the farm. They called to let Emily, who was living in Tennessee, know. And then they found Melanie and Scott happened to be standing by the burn pile. And Scott said he looked down and then he lifted something. And because he was a veteran and had seen things in the war, he knew what it was and that was Big Daddy's skull. Because pretty much that was what was left was skeleton eyes, you know, because and so he told Chris was coming on the ATV machine with the girls, and he told Chris, "Get out of here, get those girls away from here." And he told his mom he was calling 911. So he goes and he calls 911. So the police show up. Not too long, what was it, like 15 minutes after they got there?
Yeah, it was something like 30. It was a weird number, like 13 minutes
He blurts out he
after.
thinks that his mother killed his father. Or no, that wasn't how
But
he
there
just
was a
said.
gun missing.
Yeah, that there was a weapon missing from the house, that there had been,
Mm,
I can't remember, was it a 38 special or something, some kind of pistol
I don't know if the Irish got
Well, that would
we cannot have PBs.
that would coincide with the 38 slug that they found in my
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
so
And so, like she said, 13 minutes, this guy's spilling out that there had been a weapon in the house. Melanie said she didn't know what he was talking about. Nobody else in the family knew that there
Mm,
had been a gun like that in the house. A weapon, sorry, YouTube, weapon.
mhm,
Now he did have some long weapons because they did hunt,
mhm.
but they were up on a rack and locked because they had the grandkids around all the time. So I do have a hard time believing that this gun was just or this weapon was down in the basement where Gary was staying.
Yeah, that
And that
was a big stick. That whole gun, I think. Oh, sorry, weapon. I feel that that is just the way there were different stories about it, and it all came up very randomly and gradually over time. That I mean, I think he was pew pewed, but
yeah.
I just think this particular one in the drawer, just no, I can't see that.
Well, and the
It
weird
may well have been. Why would Melody not keep it with her? Like, I'm not
yeah.
saying she didn't do it and she didn't have it with her, but I don't believe the story of it was randomly in the basement drawer.
Well, he said he found it back in June of 2017, and
Yeah,
he finds it in behind the couch, and he describes what it looks like, and he said he never told his mother and father, and no one else reports ever seeing this weapon. So this was like a year before. Now, I'm sorry, you have your nieces and nephews coming to this house, and you find this behind the couch, and you don't bother to say anything to anybody?
right?
Either it never existed or you're making up story, something.
Hmm.
That doesn't make sense.
And you know who
I
ate all their meals by that drawer and hung out down there all the time? Scott.
Yeah, because this was before he moved out to the barn, right?
Yeah, but I
Because
think he
Scott
would come and get meals there as well and just
yeah,
go down in the basement because he wanted to watch TV there, which
yeah.
is fine. But I don't believe that would be the choice for Melody to keep what she was going to use.
Now, I did have a picture, and let me see if I can go back to it, that we were looking at, and, um, it was a picture of a plate that got smashed outside, and actually oh, there it was. And Big Daddy took a video of this because
you go too
ap
fast.
apparently Melanie got mad at Big Daddy about not putting something up or
Mhm.
something, and she came out and threw this plate on the ground and yelled at him. And so he goes and takes a video of it, and 3 days later, he is deleted. So I'm just saying, there was
Mhm.
tension.
There was, but I have to say they made this like they actually said in, I can't remember if it was the opening or the closing, but the prosecution said this isn't normal behavior. I don't know if it's just an Irish thing or like the Italian in my family or something, but that didn't strike me as abnormal. Like if we left our stuff all over the house, I could easily see any like my mom coming in and saying, "What are you doing?" Just chucking it and being like, "You treat this place like a like dump and clean your." That just to me that was not abnormal. That was kind of
Yeah,
a dramatic reaction that was kind of normal to me. That was
yeah. That
what
might be
she
that
said went a bit further, but the
yeah.
action of just smashing that
So
plate, that really.
according to Scott, she said she
Mm,
hoped that he would soon be deceased and she wouldn't have to put up with him, according to Scott. So,
yeah, but
we don't
and she
know.
may well have said that. But the plate throwing to me is not the sign. At least I hope it's not the sign of being a red rummer because
Uh,
that's
uh,
kind of normal.
oh, yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get you back where you're supposed to be. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Hold it. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, we lost sound.
Huh?
Have we lost sound?
Hold on a second. Let me.
Mhm. Okay, well, that's not good because I don't have the notes.
Oh, I hear Amy. Up. Hold on a second. Let me. Well, I know what it. There it is.
Okay. Can y'all hear me now?
Got it.
Oh,
Got it.
okay.
You're going now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, go ahead and tell us what they said about his mental condition when they found him before they took him to the hospital.
Gary.
Yeah. Before this happened.
Yeah, they said he was confused and kind of slurring, was it? And
Yeah.
yeah, and just was saying some really odd things. And they just panicked and they took him, and was it his blood sugar or something was off the charts?
Yeah. And and so I mean that shows that his health wasn't good. And so when he first disappeared, Chris said he was afraid that his dad might have had a heart attack and fallen somewhere on the farm. Um, at first, they made the comment that they were worried that, or did he just take off to go visit someone? Well, then they found, they said, no, the car's here. Of course, Scott made a
Mhm.
big deal about going down and checking for the CPAP machine, and he was like, "Well, if that's here, and I don't know why my mother wouldn't check that." Well, she's trying to find your father, she's not thinking of the CPAP machine. I wouldn't have thought about it, would you?
No. And also, each one of the kids said they checked the whole house. So it's sort of because Chris said he went, checked the CPAP machine, Scott went down, checked it, Amanda went. How many people need to check this thing? Like they've got a
Yeah,
whole ranch or farm, sorry, to check. Let's get to stepping outside and looking. We can't all look at the
right.
same bit.
Now they did find some bullets at Scott's place that were a 38 special, but they actually were different from the one they found in the burn pile. And so, um he told them about a friend he had that would come out, and then they would go and do sh
Sorry, Capri. She tried her darndest to get that guy sandwiches. She
she
did.
might have. She might have,
Oh shit! But it's a possibility.
you know? Um, I mean, we're not totally saying that Melanie is innocent. Um, I'll be the first one to say, no, I don't think she's all innocent. I don't think Scott's there's I mean, Scott and Melanie were both on the farm because
Mhm.
they tried to say that supposedly Gary was deleted on the 3rd, but
Yeah.
he wasn't physically put in the burn pile until 1 o'clock on the 4th. Melanie was on her way to the lake. So how did that happen? Your timeline's not meeting up. And where was he this entire time if he wasn't out at the burn pile. Because there's
Yeah.
no way if he got a weapon pulled on him in the basement and those little drops of blood that he laid down there, because nowhere can you find
Well,
someone that has
if
not.
he was shot in the house, if that happened in the house, there would be a big um a 38 is going to cause quite a bit of damage.
Yeah.
And he's going to have, there will be blood and more than
Mm.
just a few specks.
Yeah.
And the
Um,
furniture was fine, but then I suppose, on the other hand, Melody could have set it all back up again nice and neatly.
Mm,
yeah, but that's going to take time and there's going to
yeah,
be evidence.
yeah,
No, Doc did not watch the trial.
no.
Um,
And I don't see that any of them are what you would call a cleaner.
no,
Well,
I don't
Melody
think.
was supposed to be an obsessive cleaner and obsessed with having her house really neat. And at one point, the prosecution was talking about smelling like scented candles and cleaning products, but every one of the kids on the stand said they didn't smell any cleaning products.
Yeah.
So, why didn't they test that blood? That's what I understand you can't follow every lead. Totally get that. But drops of blood in the house where you're claiming it happened?
Well, I think
Was
they
there not
tested
enough?
one. Didn't they test like one
They
small one?
tested the one on the farm equipment,
Okay.
but not the ones inside. And I'm
Fowler says
just
Jim McIntyre did it. Okay.
Yeah. That's a callback to the guy, what's his name's trial? Casotis or something.
Yeah.
When he invented the FBI guy that did everything.
Well, you have to always watch out for Jim McIntyre.
You do.
But it just, things don't add up. And I mean, on the 5th, because they don't even really they don't have a time of death. They couldn't get one.
No, they don't have one.
I mean, the pathologist himself was no help for their case. He
No.
really wasn't. And that's a problem.
Well, in his case, I don't know how they would make that determination that, down to the minute. We're talking it could be hours, or
Yeah.
or
Mm.
I mean, or even a half a day. It's just
Well, I think the pathologist did make the comment that a body could have got into Gary's condition when he was found by what was it, 4 hours with as hot as the fire was burning.
mm-hmm.
All right.
So
But
okay.
the things that the holes in what he was saying was he can't confirm the victim was alive when they thought he was. He admitted that hemorrhage requires a beating heart, and he could not find evidence of hemorrhage because there was no heart left. So that means you can't confirm to a medical certainty that Farris was alive when the bullet even entered his body. The bullet could have been placed post-mortem or fired into the body after he was already deceased.
Somebody played the deflection game.
Yeah. Maybe someone that was going to set up their mother for, you know. He said there's no interest wound they can identify. There's no wound path to identify because of the condition of the body. They can't confirm if the bullet struck any vital organs. He cannot confirm any organ failure resulting from the shot. He said you can't say that was the cause of death. He essentially agreed with the defense on that. So there, he's saying we can't even say that that is what deleted him.
Yeah.
You can't determine how far away the shooter, the the person, the deleter was. You can't determine the direction the bullet traveled. You can't determine the body's position at the time of the weapon being aimed at him. No stippling, no skin, no interest wound to analyze. So he admitted his homicide determination was based heavily on the police, not physical evidence.
Oh.
So he's saying it is a homicide because there is a bullet. So I agree with you. But he
Yeah.
can't confirm it. So I'm trying to figure out why they went for that.
Yeah. And you know what really niggled me that probably isn't that important, but it's just probably just the trauma and the shock. But the detail of Chris is the only one that seemed to say that Scott had a stick and was poking at the skull. Everyone else said he picked it up. And Scott, like literally verbatim, kept saying the same phrase of how he was like, I was very careful to pick it up as little as possible. And he kept saying that he picked it up, he picked it up. But Chris kept saying, talk about the stick.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that just, it keeps niggling at me for some reason.
Well, and then another thing was on this pathologist, his report was there was like a 9 to 10 month delay. He had the dental ID confirmation by November of 2018. They found him on July 5th of 2018. So they knew who it was, but he didn't issue his report until June of 2019, almost a year later. And it was released 2 weeks after the anthropology report. So there's questions, did he actually have his own thoughts, or did he let someone else shape what he was going to contact or classify this case as?
Mm. I mean, I guess if you're weighing in, maybe he wanted more opinions to
Well,
kind
and
of
then they
confirm.
yeah.
Is that usual in cases like that? That it would take, that you would wait
No,
for more evidence to come in before releasing it?
it shouldn't. I mean, unless it's evidence that you're waiting for, like, blood samples or, um, toxicology, but see, they didn't even do toxicology. He collected skeletal muscles capable of being tested, but there was no tox run.
No.
So they did have things they could have tested, but they didn't. And he said they only would have done it if the prosecution or the sheriff would have asked for it.
Right. Maybe he
So,
felt that an anthropologist would have a better idea, and he didn't feel, because it was in such a sort of, there was so little there. Maybe he didn't feel confident enough to speak on it.
Well, so since listening to all of this, I'm failing to this is coming from somebody that did not watch the trial. I admit that, but I'm trying to figure out what exactly did they use as the damning evidence to convict Melody.
they used the fact that number one, she had an affair, and she did lie. When the cops asked her if she was having an affair, she said no, which was stupid
Yeah.
because it was not a family secret. She should have just come out and said, "Yes, I am."
Okay.
And this was another thing. On the same day, they did test Scott and also his mother for
Yeah, I see
accelerant
that. Yep.
on their hands.
Yep.
Both negative. Neither of them had any accelerant on them. This was a photo of Emily's wedding. These are the three kids that stuck together: Gary, Emily, and Chris. And then, of course, Amanda stuck for her mom. But what they found on Melanie, going back to you were asking, they found a credit card in her purse from Mr. Barton that he
Okay.
had given her.
All right.
So also birth control that she was using. So my question is, and she still had a debit card or something like that from Big Daddy. So everyone said she was so worried about money, but Barton gave her a credit card. So that kind of, you know what I mean?
I don't. I
Um,
Yeah.
haven't heard anything yet that you know tells me that there's a smoking gun somewhere.
oh well, Fowler hit it. They that morning at 2 a.m. I think it was on the 4th. They were saying they thought that um, Melody had told Rusty before they found Gary on the 5th that Rusty was saying she told him that Gary was on the burn pile. But later he took that back because he said he got the days confused. And that could be, I don't know. Um yeah, Rusty didn't have the kind of money Gary did.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
Did anybody else get the feeling that at times Gary could be very controlling with everyone in the family? The reason I
Yeah.
ask is because of a comment that Amanda made when she was on the stand. She said, "I was scared of my dad. I didn't want to disappoint him." Now, I had a father that my dad was a big guy. He was like 6'3". He probably weighed over 250 or something. He was a big dude. Had hands that looked like baseball mitts. But he was the softest, sweetest man you ever met in your life. And we lived in a small town, and he was on the town board, and he helped get a volunteer rescue squad. We already had a volunteer fire department, which he joined, and then he got the town, he helped him raise money and let's get a volunteer rescue squad. So he was kind of like a big deal in a very tiny town. So I always felt like I never wanted to disappoint him, but I was never scared of him. I thought that was a very strange comment.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm scared of my father. I didn't want to disappoint him. And I'm kind of wondering if at times Big Daddy, because she said he really or something about he was really in charge of everything. So I wonder if at times he kind of used the money and his power with the kids, with all of them. If you're not doing what I say, I'm not going to pay for that.
Yeah. It could be. Or then
Because I
taking
think him and
devil's advocate, it might be he felt he had reason to because Melody was out having affairs and
yeah,
his sons were just I mean, I think both the boys didn't they testify, well they're not boys, they're men, but the
yeah,
sons testified that he was a lot harder on them and he expected them to kind of be more independent and do things but they were the most dependent in the end. And I wonder if maybe the girls saw him getting annoyed with them, and that's what scared them. That they were like, "Oh, if we disappoint him, he's going to be mad at us like he is with them."
that could be. I know Emily's husband had some legal issues and got
Yes,
arrested.
yeah.
Um, Now I couldn't Emily, she hasn't been on Facebook for until I think last December or November, she posted a picture. Scott has gotten married. I did see a picture of his wedding. Um, Chris was at the wedding. He wasn't in the wedding party, and it was a big wedding party, which I thought was odd. Um,
Mm,
but I mean, that was just my observation. But so, I mean, and this was the wedding. This was Emily's wedding. And this picture Scott put this picture on his Facebook as the header or whatever, I can't remember what you call it, your screenshot or whatever, on
Mm.
July 12th. Now someone tell me if that is not odd. They found his father on July 5th, but he used this wedding photo of the whole family and put it up on July 12th.
That is odd because this was Scott
This was
because
Scott,
because
the
the
one that
other three, yeah, the other three kids initially were saying they thought it was an accident. He'd had one of his spells and fallen in.
right.
He was the only one that right off the bat was like, something's not right here. This is
Yeah,
so
he
it's,
immediately
I
went to
mean,
somebody did him in.
yeah, I don't, but maybe he was, I
And
don't know, maybe he
Melon
didn't have many pictures of his dad looking happy or something. I don't know, but Melody's still in it. But then,
yeah, and this is the wedding, you guys, where she brought her boyfriend. There's Gary in the red or, Roy in the red tie. There's Big Daddy with his daughter Emily, and then here's a photo of Melanie and R Roy Barton dancing at the wedding,
I,
and you can see Big
phew, my
Daddy
goodness.
over his shoulder. So it wa it
That,
wasn't
that
like
that's
this
kind
was
of brazen,
yeah.
you know.
mm,
Wow.
Well, and Scott kept saying, "My father was a one-woman man, he'd never have an affair," but then a woman come up on the stand, and she did say she had an affair with him.
yeah, I think he just didn't want to believe
Yeah.
that of his dad, which I can understand, especially after he's passed. You kind of your memories are more kind of rose
Yeah, but you just
tinted
sat through a
and
trial with a woman telling what happened, and you're still out there spouting, "My father never had an affair."
yeah,
You
maybe
know?
he's yeah, maybe you're right, like Capri saying that it took him a bit to quit keeping up the image. Maybe it was that.
Yeah. Or was it a control issue?
Mm,
That Big Daddy just wasn't gonna let
mm,
Melanie go. You know,
could
"Carry
be.
on, act like you want, but you ain't going nowhere."
Yeah, see, the fact that she brought Rusty to the wedding to me is it kind of undermines the motive because it's sort of like, well, she was happily having this affair, bringing him to family events, and
Yeah.
nothing was happening as a repercussion. So maybe, so why would she need to do anything?
Yeah.
Although, didn't he say to Emily, this is the last time she's going to embarrass me? So maybe this was too much and this was, but then wasn't this like a year before?
Well, and that's it. Everybody that has has a comment about what Gary said about Melody, then she says something about what they in different times that they talked, would say
Mm,
stuff about, well, Big Daddy and Scott were having a lot of difficulties, and Scott's like, "Oh, no, we never did," and, it was just like,
yeah.
and Big Daddy was having affairs too.
Yeah.
So it's just like, "Come on, people. This was a crazy family." And I
It
remember
was.
Peter Van Zandt asked her, he said, "Was it a mistake not telling them that you were having an affair?" And she says, "Yeah, I should have told them the truth."
Yeah.
And so, um, yeah, OnlyFan, I
Yeah.
think there needs to be a new trial. I think
There has to be.
there's just questions.
Yep.
I mean, it's hard to tell who did what. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. It really is. One of the things that they went on was because of the phone. That the phone had gone from the burn pile to the house and then back down to the burn pile. And they say the only way that could happen is if Melanie was the only one home at the time. But here's my, let's go out on a limb here. Uh, one affair. Okay, on one affair side they brought up. Okay, just the one. Okay, but that might have been the one that made Melanie feel like she could then have affairs, and she just didn't give hers up. She had one for 4 years. She drug it out. Lord have mercy. But here's my thought. Okay, you have what if Gary stayed outside that night at the burn pile? We don't know that he was deceased on the 3rd.
My feeling is whoever did it, whatever they did, happened at the burn pile
Yeah.
because it just takes out all the complications, which maybe is not reality, but to me,
I
it makes sense. If they did it there, something happened there, whether it was Melody, whether it was Scott, and then he's just falls straight on there. That makes
Yeah.
sense to me, not this business of he comes back to the house and then runs down the basement, runs back up or whatever else.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and
I just
even if she aimed a weapon at him and, you know, did a little damage in the house, this dude was big. You're gonna
yeah,
tell me he couldn't just knock her across the room? I mean, I'm just saying.
yeah. But if she caught him they were rowing, or she caught him by surprise by a burn pile,
Yeah.
he turns round and
Yeah.
it's just done before anything else can happen. I can see that.
Or what
Or
if
if
Scott
Scott had a row with
That's
him.
all speculation,
Mhm.
though, right? I mean,
Oh,
Exactly. But
completely.
yeah,
that's what we have because we have no answers.
Mhm.
yeah.
What if Scott, when he came home the night of the 3rd, actually went up to the burn pile that night
Mhm.
and his father was there? And they, like you said, they get in a row,
Yeah.
you know? And
Because the
also,
way Melody
after he
phoned
was
him back.
deleted, where was he until they put him on the pile? You're not just gonna leave him laying there.
Mm,
Have witnesses neighbors that they smelled the burn pile. So it's not like this was something that other people didn't know. It wasn't like they just started it for this.
yeah.
Yeah, this whole thing just, I don't know, it just smells to me.
Yeah.
There's
Mm,
something, how do you convict somebody of malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, concealing death, false statement, and give them life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years on some pretty weak evidence? I mean,
Yeah.
mm,
Well, part of it was some of the jurors use theories because the one girl that I listened to, she was like, "Well, I think that you know he got hurt in the house, and he ran out to the burn pile." And I'm like, There was no evidence of
yeah,
that.
but yeah,
So
but there,
why are you
yeah,
even using that as
there you go.
she but she was using something that was not in evidence. So it's like right there, that should be thrown out.
Yeah,
And there actually were some Brady violations in this case, that should have
mhm.
been noticed. Um, and they weren't taken into account. And that's a problem if you ask me. Um,
Yeah.
because there was things that the prosecution didn't get to the defense in time, and uh, and the defense made issues too. One of the biggest screw ups that the defense did is he brought in these bags of I think was it salt or something that they weighed,
I think it was
till he piled them up
fertilizer.
for yeah, and he dropped them in front of the jury
Mm,
till he had like over 300 pounds. And then he, as a man, puts them like in a bag or something and drags them across the room. Now, if he wanted to do this little experiment, he should have got some woman from his office that weighs 120 pounds and said, "Here, meet Carol." Um, Carol works for me. She weighs 120 pounds, the same thing as Miss Melanie. And see, she can't do it. So he kind of blew that.
Although he was very out of breath, I will say, maybe he was like, look, even I can't manage this. So how can you expect Melody to do it?
And
Yeah, but see, all
and Fella makes the point too is that the jury thought she was guilty. Well, you know,
yeah.
I don't, any self-respecting defense lawyer um would make, kind of mincemeat out of this whole thing, because how would they get um 12 jurors 12 jurors had to be unanimous,
Well,
and
they weren't
No,
unanimous.
they took a long time. It took them like 15 hours and they came back a couple times. And one of the times they said, we're hung and we cannot agree.
okay,
And the judge was like, did he give them the Allen charge? He told them they had to go back and
Yeah,
try again.
yeah. So, I mean, there are times that judges kind of put the pressure, and then you have other jurors that are like, that they pressure people to, oh, you got to listen to us. This is, and it's like, no,
well,
you
then
know,
the judge would, in my, in my uneducated, frame of mind, from a from that standpoint, is just like, how can the judge in that case not be guilty of coercion?
well, no, he doesn't. When I say he puts pressure on him, he gives them, I guess it's not really pressure. He just tells them the Allen charge that they have to try and come to an agreement to look over the evidence. It's kind of like telling them to go in there and work a little harder. It's not like he's saying go either way. He's not putting
Yeah.
pressure that this is how you have to go, but he's just saying go back in there and think about it some more before we just call this done.
Hmm.
And here's the thing, even if
Okay.
they did a retrial, just coming from a totally uneducated perspective of if I'd been on that jury, I felt like both sides were really brilliant. Like they presented the cases really well, really clearly. The defense, I thought, their cross examinations were fantastic and they had
Yeah.
me convinced quite a lot of the time. And the prosecution were also really good, but they never ruled out Scott enough for me. But I
Yeah.
just feel that with all of that and with that defense team and everything they showed, if they couldn't get a not guilty, I'm not sure who would.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's just you'd need a different jury or what? I don't know.
Yeah. But here are 3 of the things that are potentially Brady violations,
Hmm.
which most of you know a Brady violation is the evidence must be favorable to to prove a Brady, you have to show that the evidence must be favorable to the defendant, either because it helps the case or because it damages the credibility of the prosecution witness, or it suppressed the evidence, or the defendant was prejudiced. And one of them was the trail cameras. All the photos were removed
Mm,
from the trail camera on the property, and they were withheld from the defense. Trail cam photos could have established who was where and when on the property, potentially contradicting the prosecution's timeline or supporting the defense's alternate theory about Scott. If the photos showed Scott's movements on the night of the 3rd or the afternoon of the 4th, but remember, Scott deleted some of the photos too, he said. But
yeah.
the rest of them, they were withheld by the sheriff. Why? That's a Brady violation. You withheld evidence. The Hayes interview, when Melanie, at her sentencing hearing, Detective Hayes recorded his interview and those recordings were withheld. Recorded interviews are critical. They capture exact wording, tone, and any inconsistencies between what a witness said earlier in an investigation versus what they testified to at trial. So if a key witness like Scott said something in those early recordings that contradicted his trial testimony, and that it's favorable to the defense and damaging to the prosecution witness's credibility, both of those cover a Brady violation, and they were withheld. The geofencing data. The geofencing report was withheld until after the trial had already begun, and the prosecution introduced the finding that Gary went to Catch 22, the restaurant, returned home at 9:34 p.m. the night before the relevant testimony occurred. The defense had no meaningful time to investigate the challenge or contextualize that data. So it's not just a Brady issue, it potentially touches on the Gilgo violations as well, which cover withholding evidence that could be used to impeach the credibility of witnesses. So, truthfully, I don't know why on Brady violations alone they're not
But
getting
that
this.
is where Fowler's right that like it does have to be proven, doesn't it, that they knowingly withheld it. Like
Well, if they had it
if they
and they didn't
accidentally,
give it, I mean, they had all this evidence. They didn't give it. Th- How can you not prove that they knowingly withheld it because then they used it?
yeah, that is true.
I mean,
It's just so I really don't know how they got past reasonable doubt.
I don't
I
either.
don't think there's any way that Melody does not know what happened and what went down. So she's guilty.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's kind of a bit of justice. But
See,
I'm
I've
just
always
really
kind of wondered if the
confused.
two of them did something together.
Yeah,
One of
I
them
think
got
that makes
upset,
sense.
got in a fight, and the other helped cover it up. And then one of them immediately was narking on the other because they didn't want to get caught.
hmm Especially when you look at the difference in the interviews with Melody. And in the first one, she's saying Chris had a temper. Chris and Gary would go at it. They really had
Yeah.
a difficult time. But, I don't think he would do this. No mention of Scott having any problem. No,
Right.
he's fine. Yeah. Second interview, everything is Scott. And that's after she knows that he's been saying, there's been a gun missing. And I think, like Melody was being really weird and they have a really fiery relationship. And I feel like she was sticking to the story they concocted and he went away from it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's what kind of,
exactly. I think so too.
Mm.
This is a picture, you guys. This is when at her sentencing then. Doc, you'll
oh
love this.
my
Mm.
gosh, the drama.
At her sentencing, she starts reading her letter and she says that she was covering for her son Scott, that he is the actual one that deleted his father, and her own mother knew it but told her, "You're his mom and you have to cover for him." But she
Yeah.
said, "I am no longer doing that." And
Yeah.
this was Chris's reaction. Chris just sharply looked over at Scott like, "What?" And it wasn't like, "Can you believe what she's saying?" It was more like, "Scott, did you do something?" I mean, that's how I felt. I felt like,
the judge, the way he was like, you really shouldn't do this. I might have to step in. She's just like, no, this needs to be heard. That judge, he
Yeah.
was me in that moment. He wanted the tea. He was like, I should stop this, but I'm not going to because I want to hear this.
yeah.
Bring the drama. It was so,
Well,
I was
yeah,
living.
Josh,
Sorry.
you're right. The accusations against Scott were after the verdict because number one, her defense and most defenses
Well,
never
the
want
defense
their
did accuse him, though. The defense did,
yeah,
like, when he
they
was there and they kept going, like, that was your first mistake, wasn't it? That's what you were thinking, because you did it, didn't you?
yeah.
So,
So they
like,
did try and put it on him. But they didn't want Melanie to testify. Most defense attorneys don't want their client to testify, and it's their right not to have to testify. And that was one of the problems I had with one of the jurists. She made the comment, well, she didn't even testify. Excuse me, ma'am,
yes,
you can't hold that against her.
no,
And if you did, we got a problem.
and like, also, you don't tell anybody that you are. I'd be like, no, I didn't. Why are you telling people?
Yeah,
That's just,
she went on the air and told it.
I know, it's like, well, that right there is going to cause some kind of appeal issue.
Capri. They should have all just moved their affairs into the mansion and built little houses for all the kids and lived happily
They
forever.
should. Yeah.
Yeah, that
We
would have worked.
should.
And that
We
was
should.
Scott looking back at Chris like, not me, not me. Wasn't me.
Yeah.
Yeah, therapists, they are supposed to legally turn over all the evidence, and they didn't. So I've got a problem like that. Those are Brady violations to the max. But I agree with Luna. I think that judge just wanted to hear the whole thing. He was a
Oh man,
good
he
judge.
was invested. He was
Mm.
like, this woman this is a life sentence for her, even if I give her parole. Let the woman have her moment. And then
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
thank you, Judge. Oh my gosh, thank you. Because I
yes,
I
was so
I just
exactly.
sad when it
I just
ended.
think it will be a huge travesty of justice if she doesn't get an appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
yeah,
Mm.
because I I'll just say it again. I don't see anything, and I haven't heard anything that would make me as a juror say this woman did it for positive. I know that she did it.
Mm.
I
Right.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Brady violations are constitutional violations. They go against the heart of whatever the system operated fairly. So in her case, if one of these things that we had mentioned, especially like the geofencing data, dropped the night before testimony, Melanie's conviction then becomes vulnerable. Because if that wasn't,
Mhm.
they didn't have time to work on it, that's an issue. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, those are huge, huge Brady violations.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they're putting it into, her whole case because
Yeah.
there's just too much here that's just questions.
Yeah, there really is. There's so much reasonable doubt still, which is just
Well,
not how you want to feel at the end of a trial.
they based it all on him not using the CPAP machine that night. What if he stayed up that night? We don't know. Nobody
And
knows.
even if it did happen that night, it could still have been Scott after when he got back at 11:30.
Yeah.
He could still have done it then.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, Capri, we should do her prison phone calls together. We should do a reenactment.
Yeah.
Just in our spare time, but yeah. Sorry.
Oh, but yeah, so and I mean, I'm not saying Scott did it, but I'm just saying he
Mhm.
was not cleared. He wasn't.
No.
There's not
No.
I think there's enough evidence for several of them.
Yeah.
Because one of his friends even testified, got up and said that Scott had made statements that he couldn't wait for his father to be deceased so he would get the farm. And that was the
Yeah.
week before Gary died.
Yeah.
You know, they said he had purchased an expensive smoker. He was planning to buy a personalized computer. He'd got custom golf clubs set on July 5th using his father's credit card. He had gone up to the house that morning and got his father's credit card, and then he was complaining saying, "Oh, well, I don't know how he asked his mom, "Where did you get dad's wallet?" And she said it was in the console of the car. "Well, I want the credit card." Then he was complaining, "How did she find the wallet?" But he didn't complain when he was spending getting custom golf clubs that same
Yeah.
day, and he was being told not to spend money like this.
Yeah.
And that credit card was found on his bedside table next to a golf tee. That's where they found Gary's golf credit card. So it wasn't like when he came back, he did not immediately return it to his mother.
Yeah.
So this is before they had found him. So he kept the credit card. Well, why would you keep the credit card? Because you know that he's not going to ask for it? I'm just saying. I have
That's
questions.
true.
Yep. All good theories.
Yeah. I think there's enough holes in there that she should at least get a new trial.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
she
know,
should.
because I don't, like I said, one of them could have done it. Both of now Scott is saying that there's some kind of a strap that's missing from the farm that he went looking for later. And he goes, I think that's what she used. She's 5 foot nothing, dude. She didn't. They said in the debris there was no strap, so it wasn't like she could have drug him in there and then thrown the strap in. It was not found in there. So where's the strap?
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that the pathologist made the comment. He can't even say, you know, could Gary, been the weapon used on him after he was deceased? So was it a setup? Because Melanie brought her grandchildren to the house and they were wandering all over that farm. And I'm sorry, I'm still having trouble figuring out how come those girls didn't go up to that burn pile. I woulda. I like fire.
We know that. We know that.
I would have been up there poking around.
Yeah.
And also, there's a weapon missing. Now, almost a year later, Chris's fiance or something made the comment that she remembered seeing a weapon, but she described a totally different weapon. So if she was trying to help him, she blew it. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
I just see that there needs to be a whole lot more investigation into this
Yeah.
whole deal before they can make a determination that somebody gets life in prison with the possibility of parole in 30 years.
Yeah. Because if we take the prosecution's timeline, they said at 1 p.m. is when Gary was put on the burn pile. Melanie was at the lake, so she didn't do it. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that means there's somebody else to put him there. So that either means Melanie was in on it with someone or someone else did it. Therapist, she completely drugged him. That's a possibility.
Well, yeah, you can't discount that either.
Yeah.
And toxicology, I mean, what did you say? The toxicology never came back?
They didn't send it in. They didn't bother.
Okay.
They never sent the toxicology in.
So they have no idea whether he was drugged or not.
No, and they actually had enough to send in, but the pathologist said nobody asked him to. I don't know. Most of us all have jobs, and unless your boss stands over your shoulder and asks you to do everything, push the enter button on your computer. Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Rachel was going to be here only fan, but she's having her teeth done tomorrow. So Luna Fairy volunteered.
I'm understudy.
Hey, your timeline was awesome and it really helped.
Oh, thank you.
It really did.
I have to say this while I have the chance, because like you and Doc, I don't know if people realize how much work you put into this channel to give people a platform and to help kind of the Indigenous missing and just give people a voice. And you work so hard and you don't give yourselves enough credit and enough kudos for what you do. And I'm just going to say, I love you because you're my sister. And you're both incredible. Seriously, you deserve to have like an M after your subscriber names. You should have millions because the work you do is incredible, seriously. And you need to be told that you are amazing and what you do is powerful and important. And you guys just really inspire me, seriously. Just
thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you. It's amazing that
and as a
you
channel,
say that.
just the work you do.
Because it's
just
more Z than me.
taking my moment to tell you, it's true.
Oh, I
No,
love you,
you
little
are our
sister.
tech wizard, Doc. We need you,
Yeah.
honestly.
I can't push the buttons right. They know I need it.
Jeez.
And I'm working on a case for our Native and Indigenous brothers and sisters. If anybody knows anybody that's like a YouTuber in Scotland or even a reporter, email me, trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com. This is a big case. This is going to be a crazy case. Need some help here, people. Oh, one other
Mhm.
thing I was going to bring out is Detective Hayes, which I did not care for that man. Whenever
Yeah.
he came to the property on the 5th, Melanie tried to give him Gary's medical records and he wouldn't take them, which is odd.
Wait a minute. Run that by me again.
Mm.
Well, he never took the medical records that Melanie tried to hand him on after they found Big Daddy, because I think she thought, if she was not involved, that he had a medical issue and fell into the burn pile.
Hmm.
And she tried to give him his medical records, and the detective refused to take them.
See, why wouldn't you just take them to rule everything out so you can say, look, we tried every avenue. This is
Yeah.
what happened. We ruled everything else out because we tested everything and there's no other
Yeah.
way that this happened except Melody. I just,
So truthfully, they didn't even prove that a murder occurred. They didn't prove that.
No, yeah, because if I remember what you said earlier about the pathology, was that the gunshot could have been post-mortem.
Yeah. That was by Dr.
So
Atkins.
basically covering something up.
Yeah. Exactly. Or could it be a situation? I mean, this is hypothetical and wild, but what if he fell in and he was already so far gone and somebody in the family found him and thought they were helping him? I don't know.
yeah.
I saw it in Last of the Mohicans. Movie reference. What can I say? Where they have the one guy and they're holding him over a fire, and so one of the main character, as they're running away, turns around and deletes the guy so he doesn't burn. Movie reference.
Mhm.
Things like that can happen. So there really was not a cause of death. They cannot be certain. And that, to me, that's a problem. How do you give someone life when you cannot possibly definitely say this is what happened?
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
my big issue with the whole
Yeah.
whole case. Is that how can you possibly?
Yeah.
Mm.
I think Melanie was kind of wicked though when she
Oh.
did
Oh,
say
yeah.
she wants to see her son in chains and wants to sit behind him.
No, nobody's saying the woman is a saint
No.
because she's far from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
There's
can see saying that about somebody, but not your own child.
but not being a saint doesn't make you guilty of murder.
No,
no,
that is true.
no.
And that is
There's
the kind of thing that somebody Irish would say. I love the child, but I can imagine sitting there. I want to see you in chains. I want the whole thing pilloried, built. But you're a kid. Like, come on, that's that. Just
Well, if you had, I
what?
guess if you had been in, because it took 6 years. This happened in 2018. She was arrested in 2019. And then because of COVID, it didn't go to trial until 2024.
Oh yeah, that's a
So she
long
might have
time.
just felt like she had suffered enough and was at the end of her rope. I don't, And the thing
Yeah.
is, let's say that that this was something where they collaborated. I don't know. And you're just so fed up that he didn't stick with the story that,
Yeah.
so you're just like gonna like lay him out there.
Yep. I curse you. I curse your descendants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But hey, let's quick look at some of our missing people. We only have 3 tonight. Remember, you guys, stay alert when you're out there and looking because sometimes people leave on their own, but then they get in danger and they can't come home. And we know trafficking is real. And so let's watch, put the phone down, look at people, trust your instincts. If you notice something suspicious, contact the authorities. Don't assume someone else will. You can save a life. Contact us, tips for Trial Junkies United at gmail.com. Tips, the number 4, Trial Junkies United at gmail.com. If you're afraid to call the police, we'll do it. But our first person is Faith Lindsay. Now, she disappeared actually in 2019. She was 17, you guys. She would now be 23. She's been missing since October 28th of 2019 from Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. 5'2". She was 120 pounds. She had brown hair, blue eyes, a tattoo on her abdomen, and the initials JL and SM tattooed of a cross on her thumb. Now, her boyfriend, Tanner Dean, actually, Tanner Dean Washington, has been convicted of her deletion. They've never found her, though. They want to find her and bring her home. So contact Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation at 405-848-6724. Let her family have some peace. This is Roger Charlie. He is 61 when he disappeared. He would now be 66. This is another old one. We got to cover him. He went missing August 16th of 2021 at 7:45 a.m. And this is in Chillichinbeto, Arizona. I probably messed that up, but I'm going to say that it sounded great. He was 5'2". He weighed 150 pounds, medium build. He has black gray hair, brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a beige shirt with blue jeans. Roger is originally from Old Valley Store between Chinley and Many Farms, Arizona, and is known to hitchhike to the Chinley Bashas area. Contact Navajo Police Department at Kenneth District at 928-697-5600. See, say it with confidence and maybe people will believe me.
There we go. There you go.
It worked for me.
This last one is Stella Pruden. She disappeared on March 5th, you guys, of this year. She's 13. She needs to get home. She went missing from the 100 block of Vaughan Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. She's 5'8", weighs 150 pounds, medium build, black hair, brown eyes. Morgan's Warriors search team. Contact them at call or text at 204-996-9347. This is a really cool group that has beautiful posters. Call and contact them. They even give you an email, which is contact@morganswarriors.com, or report it to their website, which is morganswarriors.com, report a missing person. So they're really awesome. In fact, I got to try and contact them. This is a picture of Gary with his granddaughters. Those were the people, I think, in this family that truly loved this man. They didn't want
Yeah.
anything from Big Daddy. It seemed like everybody else wanted money. And I kind of felt sorry for the guy. He deserved to have someone who cared about the truth. Not just the easiest arrest, perhaps, or the most convenient narrative. And whether Melanie did this or not, the process that led to her convictions, it has cracks. And they're too big to ignore. Wouldn't you say, Irish?
Yeah, oh, definitely. There needs to be more exploration, definitely.
Yeah. So we thank our Irish Luna Fairy for flying across that pond tonight, cats and all.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, we loved it, and we want you to come back. And next time maybe we'll get Falla on here. And therapist, and I are still supposed to be working on something. We got to come up with something, therapist. So remember, you guys, every killer depends on our silence. Let's not give it to him. If you know something, speak up, because this wasn't a mannequin. It never is a mannequin. And we know people do know what's going on. And we know silence is betrayal. So we have to talk. And if you have a story you want us to cover, trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com. Thursday night is for our Indigenous brothers and sisters. And we tell their stories because every story deserves justice. And we thank you for taking the time with us tonight. If you appreciate our work, you can buy us a coffee. And I want to thank Josh. I don't know if he's still with us, but Josh bought us a coffee last week. Thank you so much. And if you can't afford it, I understand because times are tough. So hit the like button, do the thumbs up or whatever. Share this. Let's get the information out. Any of these stories. So
Comments do wonders for the algorithm. It means people are interested in your stream or your shorts for, that matter.
So until next time, you guys stay informed, stay compassionate, keep seeking truth, keep demanding justice, never stop speaking up. We have some awesome people in here that have some great channels where lavender grows, Southern Gal True Crime, Therapist has her trivia with Dr. Rachel, which is awesome. So, and I know the missing Black missing people. He has a great channel. There are great channels in here, people. So please check them out and let's help each other. And that's what the community should be about. Luna, Therapist wants to know if Mishka's licking the microphone.
No, it's Omi, actually, if I can guess. She's been so good until the end.
Who's that? Riley is?
No.
Who?
Omni.
No, Omi. Yeah, no, Omi. Riley is Farla's baby.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, she has she has a moo, she has sassy, and then Omi. Say it again.
Omi. Yeah,
Omi.
It means grandma in German.
Oh.
My mom said, we got to name her for your nan. I was thinking, okay, we're going to call her Kathleen. No, we're going to call her Omi. I was like, okay. Wait.
Thank you, Capri Law. And I do thank my mods, Fala and Luna and Katrina, and they're awesome, and I appreciate the hard work. So we love you. Please remember, criminals don't stop. Neither do we. And until next time, we're going to keep fighting for justice. Doc, do you want to say goodnight?
Good night, Doc.
Luna, you want to say goodnight?
Good night.
Our sweet Irish Luna Fairy. I wrote a song for the end about the case. So please listen, and we'll see you Thursday. Ciao, everybody.
No secrets in a murder investigation. At least, not for long. Gather round, folks, pull up a chair. There's a mansion in Georgia and a body out there. A prominent attorney, the man with the land, disappeared one day. Now wasn't that planned? Big Daddy Farris built it all. Swipe of a credit card, he'd answer the call. Didn't call it a loan, just called it love. Now the man is gone and the debts are piling up. Oh, it's a classic setup, don't you know? No mystery writer could have written this show. Somebody wanted what the dead man had, and greed has a way of turning good people bad. Big Daddy's gone. Big Daddy's gone. Everybody's crying, but the money keeps moving. Who had the motive? Who had the means? Nothing is ever quite what it seems. Big Daddy's gone, and honey, I'll tell you this. In a story knives were out long before he fell. Every smile a secret, every face a shell. They sat in that courtroom dressed up real nice, looking like mourners with hollow eyes. Then something shifted, the air grew thin. A moment so raw it crawled under your skin. A reporter leaned in close and said, I have never seen anything like that in all my years. Oh, it's a classic setup, don't you know? The kind of twist that stops the whole show. One extraordinary moment, one crack in the wall, and the truth came tumbling, tumbling for all. Big Daddy's gone. Big Daddy's gone. Everyone's crying, but the money keeps moving. Who had the motive? Who had the means? Nothing is ever quite what it seems. Big Daddy's gone, and honey, I'll tell you this. In a story like this one, nobody's innocent. It's almost like a mystery novel come to life. A confined space and all those people warring amongst themselves. And the man who controlled the money, the man who was the attorney, the man who picked up every tab is suddenly dead. Isn't it always? Big Daddy's gone. Big Daddy's gone. Every secret surfaces when the truth comes out. Who pulled the thread that unraveled it all? The bigger the empire, the harder they fall. Big Daddy's gone, and we're left with this. In a story like this one, nobody's innocent. The jury heard it all, and they made their call guilty. The room went still, every syllable heard. Mama had one last word, it wasn't me. Pointed at her son for the whole world to see. He gave them everything, right down to the bone. Fought over a fortune and lost their home. The farm got foreclosed, nobody won a thing. All that blood spilled for nothing, all that suffering. No secrets in a murder, they always come out convicted by 12. But she still has her doubts. Nobody's innocent. Nobody's innocent. Ooh, the family called it over, the courts called it done. The land's in a stranger's hands now. Nobody got the farm, son. Only one voice left crying, and she's blamed her son. Nobody's innocent.